Deep within Massachusetts lies the Freetown State Forest, a place with a dark history and spooky stories. Despite its pretty path and sunny spots, this forest has a scary reputation filled with murder, fear, and tales of ghosts. Hi, my name is Alina. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. The Freetown State Forest is a part of a Bridgewater Triangle, which is a 200 square mile area along with towns like Fall River and Rainham. This forest is known as the Cursed Forest of Massachusetts. People say strange things happen here, like mysterious disappearances and spooky sightings. It's a place where legends meet reality and the line between facts and fiction blurs. The story of the Bridgewater Triangle started in 1983 with Loren Coleman's book called Mysterious America. He came up with the term Bridgewater Triangle after the Bermuda Triangle. He marked its borders roughly and pointed out some famous spots and stories. He called it an area where strange things happen. Coleman said the triangle's corners are Rehoboth in the southwest, Abington in the north, and Freetown in the southeast. This means many people from towns such as Taunton, Brockton, Rainham, and others live inside this area where odd things occur. Today's investigators say that it's not easy to draw a clear line around this spooky area. They often mention Fall River, some parts of Rhode Island, nearby towns, and even Cape Cod as places affected by the power of the Bridgewater Triangle. Coleman talked about the strange things happening in Hockomock Swamp near Easton and West Bridgewater. People often see strange balls of light there, and some people even claim that they've seen Bigfoot. Coleman also wrote about famous Bridgewater Triangle stories. For example, in 1979, two radio reporters saw a UFO shaped like a home plate with red lights and a front headlight in West Bridgewater. In 1971, Norton Police Sergeant Thomas Downey saw a huge winged creature while driving home through Easton. He told the police, but they didn't believe him. There are more scary stories beyond what Coleman wrote. People also talk about Dighton Rock with its weird writings, Anawan Rock in Rehoboth, Lake Nippenicket in Bridgewater, and Profile Rock in Freetown. People say they've seen phantom campfires and ghosts of Native Americans there. Other spooky places include Solitude Stone, the Rainham-Taunton Dog Track, some cemeteries in Rehoboth, King Philip's Cave in Norton, and the Hornbeam School and Chef Factory in Rehoboth. One of the spookiest stories around here is about the red-hatted hitchhiker on Route 44. People say they've seen a man with a ginger beard who wears a plaid flannel shirt and jeans. He's often spotted by the road near the Rehoboth town line. The creepy part is he gets into cars and then vanishes into thin air. The Freetown Forest isn't just known for spooky stories, it's actually seen some real tragedies. Back in November 1978, they found Mary Lou Arruda's body tied up to a tree along the Copycut Road that leads deep into the forest. At the beginning of the road, there are large sand and gravel pits that stretch across many acres on both sides. It seems like an ordinary forest road. Mary was only 15 and had been taken from Rainham a couple of months before that. James Cater was accused of murdering Mary Lou. His conviction was changed in courts back and forth for 20 years. Some people, including Cater's lawyers, believed that Mary Lou's death was connected to other cult murders happening around the same time. In 2000, Cater's conviction was finally confirmed and he passed away in prison in 2016. In the fall of 1979, something shocking happened in the community. It all started when the body of 19-year-old Doreen Ann Levesque was found outside Falls River High School in October. This led to an investigation that uncovered a strange story with young people involved in prostitution and what seemed like a cult. The investigation revealed that there were orgiastic rituals and animal sacrifices happening in Freetown Forest, all under the guise of satanic practices. However, they didn't find an evidence of any human sacrifices, and instead it was love triangles and jealousy among the group members that led to the murders of Levesque, 22-year-old Barbara Raposa, and 20-year-old Karen Marsden, whose body was never found, by the way, and she was identified by her skull. This case is a long and confusing story, and a lot of it is still a mystery. We only know about it from what those who were convicted in the crimes have said. These people include Carl Drew, Andy Maltese, and Robin Murphy. This story became big news during a time when people were really scared about Satanism, and the media made it even worse. These murders are now called the Fall River Cult murders, and they are talked about in a book called Mortal Remains. There's also a docu-series called Fall River being made for the Epix network. In 1980, Alan Alves, who's also known as the Cult Cop, shared an image of what will be known as Carl Drew's shack, or the Ice Shack, that was supposedly used for rituals by a group. The structure has since disappeared, adding to its mystery. Some people mix up the shack with the Ice House, a ruined stone building across Batupa Pond in Fall River, which is also known as a place for occult stories and rumored activities. Back in 1987, another terrible thing happened in Fall River involving 4 young men. They mistakenly believed a homeless man named Edward C. Serreto was an undercover cop and ended up shooting him with a shotgun. This incident, though not widely reported, still added to the dark reputation of Freetown, especially with all the talk about satanic activities in the area. This added fuel to the public fear and curiosity about what was going on. Then in 2001, 2 men were discovered shot multiple times on Bell Rock Road, a road that cuts through the forest. Additionally, many people reported being attacked or assaulted near the forest edge and along its quiet path. Back in 2006, people talked about aggressive dogs roaming around and causing trouble. During the same time, an escaped emu was seen wandering in the forest, startling visitors by rushing at them. And in May of 2016, wires were discovered stretched across paths that many people use. But these wires weren't there by accident. They were set up to catch motorbike riders by their necks. People say they also witnessed ghosts, black helicopters, glowing orbs, huge snakes, things moving by themselves, and some people even say that there have been alien kidnappings. Even President Ronald Reagan said he saw some weird lights in the sky above the forest. This forest is like a confusing maze, with most of it being haunted. Even when the sun shines through the trees, the forest can still be scary. People get scared just by being there, especially after they heard all this spooky stories about things that happened in the forest before. Everywhere you look, there is a chance of encountering something eerie or unsettling. As you approach the official entrance of Freetown Fall River Forest, you are greeted by a bronze statue of a cheerful, young, shirtless man. This statue represents the men of the Civilian Conservation Corps who played a significant role in developing the state forest in its early days. The area around the entrance includes the park's headquarters, a pool, picnic tables, playgrounds, restrooms, and ample parking spaces. It looks quite typical of a recreation property managed by the Department of Conservation and Recreation. A bit further up Slab Ridge Road, about a mile northwest from there, you'll find Profile Rock. It used to be a famous spot, but sadly it was destroyed in 2019. This rock formation wasn't entirely natural. It was likely made with dynamite back in the mid-1800s. People thought it looked like a face from the side, died, and some said it resembled Massasoit, a Wampanoag leader who lived around 300 years ago. Massasoit's son, Metacom, stayed here during King Philip's War in the 1670s, a time of intense fighting. They say Metacom's spirit still lingers around these rocks, just like many other places in southern New England connected to the war. Along Copicut Road, there is a place where local legends speak of so-called the Mad Trucker who might chase you in his ghostly pickup truck. You can also spot a lot of graffiti in specific areas of the forest. Some of it has numbers like 666 and symbols that look like pentagram. People in the media and law enforcement sometimes use those as proof that there is still occult stuff happening around the area. Assonet Ledge is a famous spot in the forest that has a lot of spooky stories to it. People claim they've seen ghosts of Native Americans moving through the trees. These ghosts are said to be from a war in the 1600s. There's another story about a girl who used to meet her secret boyfriend at that ledge, but one day he stopped coming, so she jumped off the cliff and died. And nowadays her ghosts are believed to stay around those rocks. People still see ghostly figures jumping off the ledge and disappearing. They also say they get sudden thoughts of wanting to harm themselves, or they feel like someone might push them over the edge. Some people believe that these thoughts are caused by creatures called pukwudgies, which come from Wampanoag folklore. Pukwudgies are said to attack with poisoned arrows and by pushing people off cliffs. This idea might have spread because of the Wampanoag Reservation nearby, and people have started talking about it more. Whether it's because of supernatural reasons or not, the ledge can be risky. In the last 20 years, 2 people have died from falling there, and many others have gotten seriously hurt. The Wampanoag Reservation stands out from the rest along High Street and Ledge Road. Unlike the confusing mix of puzzle pieces everywhere, it remains a clear and recognizable landmark. Positioned near the main road, visitors often take leisure walks, admiring the tall trees and lush grass instead of struggling to navigate through dense woods. Unlike other spots in Freetown known for bad things, this place stays mostly peaceful. It's like finding a diamond in the mud or a tree root breaking through the sidewalk. Some people have encountered unfriendly spirits here, but mostly this area is left alone. You might also discover some graffiti, but again, this mess is just caused by a couple of people. There's a campsite, but it's not in a great shape, though people are still drawn to that area where they can think about spiritual stuff without worrying about demons and cults. Because of harsh winters and heavy rains, the buildings are falling apart. It's not because people are breaking them, but because nature keeps hitting them, trying to wear them down. The visitor center is closed up, and it looks like an abandoned shack in the woods. In the forest, people reported seeing ghosts and even monsters, and there is also a talk about so-called shadow people that appear whenever any other supernatural events occur. These shadow people are often described as male, and they are supposedly even less clear than any other ghosts. Many people believe that those might be demons or negative spirits that feed off the energy from paranormal places. And the more negative energy is around, the more darker and solid these figures become. Lately, more and more sightings of the shadow figures have been reported, making other people wonder whether something else is happening there or if those shadow figures just become more and more common. The Wampanoag Reservation also has some spots that are puzzling to outsiders. One area is a big circle made of logs and branches where people seem to gather. Sometimes there are strange movements and lights seen around this place. Another strange thing is a bunch of stone structures that look like piles of rocks stuck together. They don't seem to have a purpose near the main building. Two separate people reported seeing a man who looked like a Native American but wearing jeans. They were in a visitor's area when this man suddenly appeared and offered to help them. When they asked him about the center's opening hours, he just shrugged, and then he mentioned a fireplace in the woods. They followed where he pointed, but when they turned back, he was gone. In the middle of the woods, there is a strange sighting of a fireplace that dates back to the CCC days and stands out like a burned out car. It's made of stone and cement, now mostly covered in plants as nature takes over. People reported seeing smoke from the chimney even though there is no fire, and they also say that they see wood burning inside, but it vanishes as they get closer. In the reservation, there are also ghost animals, not just ghost people. This might be because of the beliefs of the Wampanoag people. Many people have seen phantom animals in and around different parts of the main area. It's normal to see animals in the forest, but people reported seeing animals that aren't known to science. But in the Bridgewater Triangle, strange creatures have been reported before. The encounters people talk about don't fit the usual ghost stories. It seems like they capture a moment that's frozen in time. For example, Adam, an experienced hiker in Freetown Forest, reported a strange encounter that he witnessed while walking the trails. It happened on a cold February morning in 2002. Adam was taking photos near the reservation when he saw a deer walk by just a short distance away. What surprised him is that the deer didn't seem to react to his presence and was just picking at the snow. Even more oddly, the deer looked almost see-through like a ghost, with a faint orange glow around it, and it moved silently through the snow. Adam decided to call it a day, putting away his camera and lighting a cigarette. As he turned, he noticed what seemed to be like the same animal emerging from the woods again in the same exact spot. It felt like he was watching it on a replay, and what happened next made Adam questioned whether those animals who are hunted and killed had a soul. A quote, "Something hit the animal. I saw it jolt as if it got shot, then tried to run and fall down. After that, it just vanished," Adam explained. When he went to check the spot, he didn't find any tracks, blood, or any sign that an animal had been there. The way animal had reacted seemed like something came from Adam's direction, but Adam didn't hear any gunshots or didn't see any arrows hitting the deer. This experience made Adam rethink hunting. He still thinks that hunters can hunt deer, but he won't track them himself anymore. I'm personally against recreational hunting and fishing. From the eerie tales of the red hitchhiker to the chilling encounters with other mysterious entities, this forest leaves us with more questions than answers. If you dare to venture into its depth, be careful and always stay aware of the unseen forces that may be watching you. Until next time, bye!